Hi, my name is Emily. I'm 24 years old and I work as a freelance illustrator. My world is built on colors, emotions, and memories. I've always been the kind of person who holds on to the past, especially the beautiful parts. Maybe that's why I thought making Claire a scrapbook was the perfect idea. Claire and I grew up 5 houses apart on the same sleepy street in a small town where everyone knew everyone. She was the loud to my quiet, the wild to my careful. From kindergarten to senior year, we were always in the same classes, always in the same photos, always side by side. People thought of us as a pair, Claire and Emily. Emily and Claire. It was just a given. We made blanket forts in my living room. We had a shared diary in middle school filled with doodles, crushes, and confessions. She taught me how to put on eyeliner in 8th grade, badly, but it was a moment. We wore matching fairy wings on Halloween until we were embarrassingly too old to do so. In high school, we drifted a bit. Different clubs, different friends, but I still felt like we had a bond time couldn't really erase. Last month, while cleaning my closet, I found an old box labeled Memories. Inside were photos, birthday cards, paper napkins with our scribbles, even the faded Best Friends Forever necklace I wore every day in 6th grade. My heart ached. I sat on the floor, surrounded by artifacts of our friendship, and I thought, I want her to feel this too. That's when the idea hit me. A scrapbook. Not just a photo album, but a living, breathing memory book. Something only someone who truly knew Claire could make. I wanted to remind her of who we were, of who she was to me. I wanted her to know I never stopped caring, even when life got in the way. I bought a leather-bound book and spent the next 3 weeks crafting it. Each page was a portal into our childhood. I recreated the menu from our favorite cafe in town. She always ordered strawberry milkshakes. I scanned the note she passed me in 5th grade when I had the flu. "Don't die, I need a math partner." I even found the silly doodle of us as superheroes, Captain Curls and Lightning Legs. I stayed up past midnight every night, cutting, gluing, writing. It became a ritual, a meditation. I laughed. I cried. I remembered. And I believed with every page that she would feel it too. Once finished, I wrapped the book in brown craft paper, tied it with a soft pink ribbon, and added a daisy on top, her favorite flower back in 4th grade. I debated writing a letter, but I figured the scrapbook said everything. Then I sent her a text. "Hey Claire, I've made something for you. Do you have time to meet this weekend?" She replied a few hours later. "Sure, Saturday okay?" I stared at the screen and smiled. I imagined her opening it slowly, flipping through the pages, her eyes filling with tears. Maybe she'd hug me. Maybe she'd laugh and say, "You always remember the best stuff." That was the dream. I didn't know then that my dream was about to crash into a brutal wall of reality, because what she gave me, in return for my 3 weeks of heart and soul, wasn't gratitude. It wasn't laughter or even polite surprise. It was something I never saw coming.
Saturday came faster than I expected. I barely slept the night before, too busy imagining every possible reaction Claire might have. I picked out a soft blue sweater, the one she once said brought out my eyes, and left the house with the scrapbook tucked safely under my arm. We agreed to meet at the cafe downtown. It wasn't our usual childhood spot, it had closed years ago, but it felt neutral, grown up. I got there early, ordered us both lattes, and sat by the window, where the sunlight made everything look a little softer. I ran my fingers over the ribbon on the package, over and over, like I was trying to calm it down. When Claire walked in, She looked the same and somehow completely different. Her hair was shorter now, her makeup perfect, and she carried herself with a kind of breezy confidence I both admired and envied. She spotted me, waved casually, and slid into the seat across from me. "Hey, you," she said, like it had been a few days, not nearly a year, since we'd last seen each other. I smiled. "Hey, you look great." "Thanks. New job, new hair, you know." She glanced around. "This place is cute." I nodded, heart racing. "I made something for you." I placed the wrapped scrapbook in front of her like it was some sacred offering. She tilted her head, curious. "What's this?" "Just something I've been working on. A scrapbook. Of us. Our childhood. I found a box of old memories and couldn't stop thinking about everything we shared. So well, I made this." She raised her eyebrows, genuinely surprised for a second. "You made me a scrapbook?" "Yeah," I said, smiling softly. "It's kind of a walk through memory lane. I thought it might mean something. To you." Claire carefully undid the ribbon, opened the book, and flipped through the first few pages. She paused at a picture of us in pigtails, covered in glitter glue from second grade. Then she laughed. Not a warm laugh, not a touched by the gesture laugh. It was the kind of laugh people give when something is weird, out of place. "Oh my God," she said. "We weren't even that close." I blinked. "What?" She flipped another page, chuckling. "This is so detailed. Like, wow. I mean, it's cute, but Emily, we were kids. I wouldn't even have remembered half of this." My chest tightened. "But we were best friends." She shrugged. "We were friends, sure, but not like deep soulmate level friends. We hung out because we lived close, you know?" The cafe suddenly felt too loud, too bright. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Every hour I spent cutting, gluing, crying, laughing, all of it was crashing into the wall of her indifference. "I always thought we were closer than that," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. She glanced at me, then back at the book. "Sorry, I don't mean to sound ungrateful. It's sweet, it really is. Just unexpected, kind of intense." I stared at her, at this person I thought I knew, at this person I had poured my heart into remembering. She didn't see it. She didn't feel it. And worst of all, she didn't care that I did. I forced a smile, nodding as if her words hadn't just shattered something deep inside me. She closed the book and pushed it gently back toward me. "You should keep this. I think it means more to you than it ever will to me." And just like that, the scrapbook wasn't a gift anymore. It was a wound. I walked home with the scrapbook pressed tightly against my chest, like it could hold together the pieces of me that had just cracked wide open. The sunlight didn't feel soft anymore. It felt harsh, loud, like it was exposing everything I didn't want to admit. Each step felt heavier than the last. I replayed Claire's words over and over in my head, like a broken record I couldn't stop. We weren't even that close. It wasn't just what she said, it was how casually she said it, like I'd made up the entire friendship, like our years of secrets, giggles, scraped knees, and midnight confessions had all happened in a dream only I remembered. When I got home, I dropped the scrapbook on my bed and just stood there, staring at it. The pink ribbon lay loose beside it, like a slumped balloon after a party no one really enjoyed. I sat down slowly, opened the first page, and stared at our second grade photo. We were wearing matching t-shirts we made for Best Friends Day at school. She had drawn a heart on mine. I had drawn a smiley face on hers. How could she not remember this? I turned the page, a movie ticket from The Princess Diaries. I remembered her crying when the cat ran away. I remembered us pretending to be royalty for weeks after. We weren't even that close.
I closed the book and laid down beside it. My eyes burned, but the tears didn't come. Not yet. It was like my body didn't know whether to cry or laugh or scream. Maybe she was right. Maybe we were only friends because proximity made it easy. Maybe the bond I felt wasn't mutual. But how could I have felt it so deeply if it was never real? Was I just delusional? The worst part wasn't losing her. It was realizing she had never truly been mine to lose. A memory hit me out of nowhere. Me waiting by the window on her 12th birthday, gift in hand, only for her to cancel because she'd decided to have a sleepover with her new cool friends instead. I told myself it didn't matter, that we'd celebrate later. But we never did. I started to see it now. The pattern, the tiny cracks I'd covered with bright paper and glue, pretending everything was fine, pretending our friendship was whole. It wasn't. It wasn't just the scrapbook. It was every time I clung to her laughter like it was proof we still mattered. Every time I remembered something sweet and chose to forget the bitter. She had always been slipping away. I just kept holding on. Until now. My phone buzzed, a text from Claire. "Hope you're okay. Didn't mean to hurt your feelings. Still love you, girl," followed by a heart emoji. I stared at the screen. My thumb hovered over the keyboard, unsure whether to reply or delete the thread entirely. Still love you, girl. Love didn't look like that. Love didn't laugh at someone's heart laid bare in paper and ribbon. I turned off my phone. For the first time in a long while, I let silence fill the room. I didn't try to fix anything. I didn't reach out. I didn't apologize for being hurt. I just breathed. And slowly, quietly, the tears came. Not just for her, but for the version of me who thought giving enough would mean I'd be loved the same in return. The next morning, the light in my room felt gentler, or maybe I was just too numb to feel anything properly. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, letting the silence stretch. No notifications, no buzzing, just me, my heartbeat, and that damn scrapbook. I didn't touch it at first. It sat on my nightstand like a ghost, quiet, heavy, and full of things I wasn't ready to face again. But as the hours passed, something shifted in me. The grief settled into something else. Not acceptance, not yet, but curiosity. A need to reclaim something. I picked up the book, slowly, like it might bite. I opened it to the middle, our 8th grade sleepover photos, the night we stayed up until 3 a.m. making prank calls and ranking our celebrity crushes. I remembered how we laughed so hard we cried, how we promised we'd always be each other's emergency contact. I smiled, then frowned, not because it wasn't real, but because it was, at least for me. But here's the thing. This book didn't belong to her anymore. It never really did. It was mine. My memories, my effort, my love. So I took a pen, turned to the back page, and started writing. This wasn't for her. It was for me. To remember how much I can love, to honor the girl I was, the one who believed in friendship like it was magic, who gave everything and never expected it to be measured. She deserves to be seen by me. I kept writing, not about Claire, but about me, about the memories I wanted to keep and the ones I was ready to let go. I wrote about how hard it is to love people who don't love you back the same way, how it doesn't make your love less valid, just misplaced. I filled 3 pages with letters to my younger self. Dear Emily, I'm sorry I doubted your memories. You weren't foolish. You were hopeful. That's beautiful." And somehow, as the ink flowed, the ache began to dull, not disappear, but transform into wisdom, into gentleness. That night, I lit a candle, sat cross-legged on the floor, and flipped through every page again. This time, I didn't imagine Claire beside me. I didn't wait for her reaction. I didn't rehearse what I'd say. It was just me. I laughed at our ridiculous haircut phases. I teared up at the notes we wrote during exams. I whispered, "Thank you," to the girl I was, for loving so fearlessly. And when I reached the last page, where I had written my reflections, I didn't feel sad. I felt proud. Claire may have laughed. She may have dismissed it, but I had created something beautiful from love, and that love still had value, even if she never saw it. That scrapbook became my time capsule, a reminder not of a failed friendship, but of the depth of my own heart. People always talk about heartbreak in romance, but friendship heartbreak, it's quieter. It hides behind politeness and old memories. It doesn't get songs or movies, but it leaves scars too. I was starting to see mine, and I was ready to stop hiding them.
A few days passed. The ache didn't vanish, but it stopped stinging like it did before. I began moving through my days a little lighter. I still kept the scrapbook on my nightstand, but now it was closed, resting, like a chapter that had been read all the way through. Then, on a quiet Thursday morning, I got a message from someone I hadn't spoken to in a while, Nora. Nora and I had met during college. We weren't super close, but we shared a few art classes, had coffee a couple of times, and followed each other on social media. She was thoughtful in that quiet, observant way that made you feel seen even if she didn't say much. Her message read, "Hey, I saw the story you posted about your scrapbook. That was beautiful. Would love to catch up if you're up for it." I blinked. I had posted just one photo of the cover, captioned, "Some memories are just for you." I didn't expect anyone to notice, especially not Nora. I replied instantly, "I'd love that. Tomorrow?" We met at a small bookstore cafe downtown. Nora wore a mustard yellow cardigan and smelled like cinnamon. She smiled when she saw me, that genuine kind of smile that doesn't demand anything in return. Over coffee, we talked about art, life after college, how overwhelming freelance work could be. Then she gently asked, "Do you want to tell me about the scrapbook?" I hesitated, then I nodded. I told her everything, from the box of memories to the day I gave it to Claire, the laughter, the cold dismissal, the silence after. Nora listened without interrupting. She didn't try to explain Claire's behavior. She didn't tell me to move on or not take it personally. She just listened. And when I was done, she looked at me and said, "You love beautifully, Emily. Don't ever stop doing that." I felt my throat tighten. No one had ever said it like that before. She reached into her bag and pulled out a small sketchbook. She said, "I've been trying to draw something every day." She flipped to a page. It was a loose sketch of a girl holding a box full of stars. She said, "I drew this after seeing your post. It reminded me that some people collect memories the way others collect trophies, and that's not a weakness. It's a kind of bravery." I stared at the drawing, feeling something crack open inside me again, but this time in a good way. We talked for hours about childhood, about letting go, about the art of remembering without expectation. I left the cafe with her sketch in my hand and something I hadn't felt in weeks. Hope. That night, I placed Nora's drawing inside the scrapbook, on a blank page I hadn't known what to do with. And for the first time since Claire's words broke something in me, I smiled without effort. Not because the past was fixed,
but because I had started to make room for the future. And maybe, just maybe, I wasn't as alone as I thought. A week after meeting Nora, I sat in my studio, surrounded by art supplies, sketchbooks, and that quiet kind of sunlight that feels like it's listening. My hands moved instinctively, cutting, sketching, gluing, without a plan. For the first time in a while, I wasn't trying to prove anything. I was just creating. The scrapbook sat closed beside me. Not like a wound anymore, but like a finished chapter. A part of my story, not the whole story. I kept thinking about what Nora said. You love beautifully. Those words stayed with me, echoing in the corners of my mind whenever doubt crept in. Because for so long, I thought my love was too much, too nostalgic, too intense, too one-sided. But maybe it wasn't too much. Maybe it was just true. And maybe true love, be it romantic, platonic, or creative, isn't about being matched. It's about being real. I opened the scrapbook again, but this time, not to relive anything, just to add one last page. I titled it, What I've Learned. And I began to write. Not everyone you love will love you back the way you hope. Not everyone will hold your memories with the same care. But that doesn't make your love any less sacred. It doesn't make your memories less real. It doesn't make you less worthy. I made this book because I have a heart that remembers, that collects little things, laughter, glances, inside jokes, as if they were gold. And that's not something I'll ever apologize for again. Claire didn't see the value in our shared past. That's okay. It's hers to forget. And it's mine to keep, gently, and without bitterness. I closed the book and tied the ribbon again, tighter this time, not to keep something locked, but to preserve it, to honor the girl I was, the friend I tried to be, and the artist I'm still becoming. Later that evening, I posted a new drawing on my portfolio page. It was of a girl with paper wings stitched together from letters and old photographs, flying over a city made of childhood memories. I titled it, We Were Close Enough for Me. The response was overwhelming. People messaged me telling their own stories of friendships that faded, of love that wasn't returned, of trying too hard and being told it was too much. And in every message I saw it. Connection, empathy, recognition. That was the real gift. Not the scrapbook, not even Claire, but the discovery that my love, my messy, nostalgic, handcrafted love, could reach people far beyond one person. I never heard from Claire again, and I'm okay with that now, because I no longer need her to validate the past. I lived it, I remember it, that's enough. The next time I make something from the heart, I'll still pour myself into it. I won't hold back, but I'll do it knowing that not everything needs to be received the way I envision. Sometimes the act of creating, of giving, of remembering, that's the real gift, the real healing. As I turned off the lights and got ready for bed, I glanced one last time at the scrapbook on my shelf. It no longer looked like a monument to rejection. It looked like love, pure and brave, and it was mine to keep.
Do you enjoy stories with emotion and twists? Then like, subscribe, and activate the bell. Here, every word touches you.